What are the benefits of selling grade C items of clothing? Watch this video and I'm going to hopefully elaborate and give you some insight into why you should consider it. What's going on, everybody? At Spencer Line here again, as per daily videos, chopping clothes down like we chop video cuts up. For those that don't know, in 2012 I started a business and a brand called Gully Garms. It was vintage and secondhand clothing. As of 2023, last year, I had to sadly close it and change the direction of it, wanting to come here on YouTube to start a personal brand and build more value and give you guys more content that could be useful for your reseller journeys. So you actually want to know what grade C clothing is while Spencer's just talking, aka me, at the same time. I'm going to show you some of the rags and rework stuff that we sell and we have, and give you examples of what marks can be considered at grade C. Today's video is going to look at grade C clothing, but first, I guess we want to actually break down what grades clothing is and what that even means. So this, for example, is just piles of clothing I've got for a live stream app that I sell on, and all of this stuff is grade A. What grade A means is that despite it being a secondhand item of clothing, there might be minor signs of wear and tear or minor flaws. This will still fit under a wearable secondhand grade A. Grade B clothing sits with minor flaws, maybe small, minuscule holes, or maybe some ruffles and tears, maybe little bits of pilling. The way that grade B is that it's still considered wearable, but there's just a slightly more noticeable mark. And grade C clothing looks at things that have a much more damaged nature. So maybe holes as big as a 50p, bleach marks, paint marks, all this. Bootlegs, aka fake sweatshirts, hoodies, or just fake items. Now, the difference for anybody who wants to know, a bootleg item is when the brand's logo is on there, but the brand never actually released that product, whereas a fake item is something like this, where the brand released something similar and this is a copy in an illegitimate way. And I know you lot are listening to me right now and you're going, Spencer Lyon, who on earth in their right mind wants to buy that sort of clothing? And I'm here to tell you, whoever you are watching, you would be surprised what people are willing to pay for items you think are past their purchase period. And I want to talk and explain about what the benefits of this are. One of the perks about grade C clothing is that it is low-hanging fruit. The more damaged an item is, the more leverage you have to offer literally next to nothing for it. You would be surprised how much. So when we look at grade C clothing, the whole purpose of it is that it's damaged stock. So when you go onto the other reverse of it, think about the suppliers that are selling grades A, B, and C. Also, just a FYI, Adidas never use loopholes like that, and there's certain features that you can tell for why it's fake. This is a grade C bootleg Hugo Boss, and what is to be noted about this is it has all these red marks on it. What a lot of people can actually do is they can buy things like this and they can dye the bleach out of it, they can wash it under higher temperatures, and essentially have a go at trying to fix it if they don't want to sell it in that condition. I will tell you off the bat, you will be surprised what people will buy in set conditions. And it's not to judge people for doing that. People maybe have the same mindset of wanting to save items from landfill. There are suppliers that sell grade C clothing, and if not, I would recommend going to your local wholesaler, ringing up a wholesaler, even going to a charity shop and asking them what they do with grade C clothing. What do you do with the stuff that's too damaged to put out for sale for your customers in a charity shop, or what do you do with stock that's too damaged to sell to your regular wholesale or reseller clients? And the answer is that they will have it there ready to go, but there's just not really a price for many people who sell that because they don't think that people want it. So grade C, like this, little marks on the cuffs, things like that. Okay, really nice Zara jacket, not very nice rip in the arm. Could somebody actually mend that rip? Most definitely. You could do something with that, you could put a patch on it, you could figure it out. But this is where I want to sit and talk to you a little bit more about leverage. You know, at this point, if you've been watching the videos, leverage is one of my favorite words, leverage and momentum, because they work in perfect harmony to express the points I'm trying to get to. The leverage that you get from looking to buy grade C clothing is insane. The prices that you can pay for grade C clothing could be anything from 10p to £1. It might be a little bit more, but the prices are always incredibly low when you go about finding it. Let's say, for example, that this Nike t-shirt has a massive rip down the back just there, and it's got a bleach mark right by the swoosh. How much would you think it would sell for? £1, £2? The answer is, relative to what you've paid for it, if you was to buy this from somebody who was selling it and it was in that damaged condition, what would you be willing to pay as a reseller? Maybe £1, maybe 50p? If I told you that based on this being in a grade C condition, you could still sell it for £10, you wouldn't believe me, and you'd say you're just conning people. However, the argument goes back to the point of something is worth as much as somebody's willing to pay for it. These t-shirts in grade A condition with a relative market price on it are probably £26. Another one of the big reasons why I want to promote these rags and reworks that we do, and not even just to buy from us, by the way, but the grade C concept is that this is stuff that you can have leverage to buy at a really low price. To most people and the average person, it's knackered, it's set for the bin, bury it in the ground with every other rubbish bit of item. I say that you can extend the life of set items because you have to put yourself in the perspective of people that might buy it for a mixture of reasons. Certain people buy clothes online, especially secondhand, for the purpose of what secondhand is. Somebody wants clothes to go and wash the car with. Somebody wants clothes to go and run to the shops with. Somebody wants lounging about clothes that nobody's going to see them in. And they like items that have lower grades. The reason where the leverage comes into this is that if you spend £1 on an item that's grade C and sell it for £8 or take an offer for £6, you've made a 6 times markup on your investment compared to going and buying grade A stock at £15 per item for a sweatshirt and trying really hard to get £60 out of it at a 4 times return. You wouldn't get £90 for a £15 sweatshirt on average. The reason why I value the grade C clothing as much as I value all of it is because grade C clothing is almost, do you know, I'm gonna put him here. Do you know Wheezy from the Toy Story, how he gets put on the top shelf because he's got a bit of dust on him and his squeak stops working? And I know that's a weird analogy, but think of grade C clothing like that penguin that's like dusted up and is sat on the top of a shelf, right? The things that are at the end of their appeared expiry date always seem to lose complete value. There's an importance on remaining in the circulation for these products. I literally know somebody who buys knackered clothing to clean his car with. He works at a garage and he buys it to do that. So think about that. That's one perspective. Can we bootleg bags like this? Think about this. I would say if somebody's an upcycler, you could take this panel, take it off, put it on a cushion, put it on a laptop bag. You could make something out of this and then you're repurposing that. What's inside? We have a few angles we can take this for, and the reason why I value the grade C is for people who upcycle and repurpose clothing, or people who want affordable stuff. So it kind of sits on this upcycling side and also the cheaper, affordable option. If somebody sees this grade A t-shirt for £26, they've got to think how valuable £26 is to them at their point in their life. Whereas if you see this for £8 and it's just got some little bleach marks and it's got some holes, yes, you might have ideally wanted it in a grade A condition, but by means of where people are, you're holding on to an item and extending the life of something that people would normally consider going into the landfill. And not only that, but you're actually making more profit than the items that would buy at grade A condition. Can you understand how that works? I'm trying not to get too excited by this point, but I think it just needs to be so imperatively driven into people that the grade C items are some of the most important items to remain in circulation, because the stigma around the secondhand of these items are battered and nobody wants them is completely negated by the fact that there's a customer base that is buying grade C items. And a bootleg Gucci cap inside, so you could take that little detail, you could cut the panel in, you could use anything for it. If you take something off this cap and repurpose it and make something different, you are not selling a bootleg Gucci hat. You are not selling anything related to it. You are taking material and using it to create something completely different. I've sold 2,000 items on Depop in a grade C condition in the last year to make a valid point of that. And the reason why I built that all upon grade C is to not even intentionally make a point, just because that was the stuff that I wanted to save from landfill, and I believe looking at it that it was still underneath a wearable fashion. And most of the time, the reason why people won't wear an item of clothing because it's got a mark is because of this general word of mouth, this general perception that their friends, their peers, people around them may have a thought about a secondhand item of clothing. You imagine, oh Dave, where did you get that new t-shirt from? Oh, I got it from Depop. It only cost me £6. It's just got like this big bleach mark. You buy a t-shirt because it's got a big bleach mark on it. Really? I just go and buy them from Hugo Boss new for £80. You see like the level of difference, not even like, I'm not trying to say that there's an intentional snobbiness, but when it comes around to people looking at things that are in a damaged quality, for the most part, the people that buy it to wear, there's an audience of people that will be like, why would you wear that? Just throw it in the bin, it's knackered. But the argument is, wearability is relative and it's underneath whatever you blanket as being wearable. So my version of grade C with what we sell would be bootlegs and fakes, damaged stock grade C, which would be holes bigger than a 50p, bleach marks, paint stains, oil marks such as that, and maybe low desired brands. So another thing also with grade C is low desired brands, maybe fast fashion brands that have slipped through with what we've picked up, or maybe just certain things that aren't cool and stylistic enough to sell at a high value, so they have to go for a low value. I wear t-shirts that have little holes and little specks everywhere because I don't really care that it's got a hole in it. I'm not trying to be nuanced and edgy by wearing things that are knackered to make some sort of point, but I'm just wearing them because I believe that they're still wearable, and I don't really give a shit if people think I look weird because I've got a hole in my t-shirt. That wouldn't bother me in the slightest. I know it will bother some people. The benefit of selling grade C items of clothing is that if you're on a major budget, you can buy them very cheap. You can think of tactics to talk to your charity shops or local suppliers. Go and ask your local supplier what he does with your grade C clothing. Homework assignment there. You might be a bookseller, you might be an electronics seller, you might only want to buy faulty DVD players because most people think that they're past the ability to restore them, but you could buy knackered DVD players and find somebody who could fix them and restore them. And then once you do the numbers on what its value is, it makes sense. With clothes, a little bit of a different market. I'm obviously more proficient in their value, and I know for a fact that this Nike t-shirt in grade C condition, I could sell for £10 tomorrow, and I wouldn't even need to use any account related to Gully Garms. I would just make a completely random one and sell it to prove a point. People will still buy it. Honestly, the Rags and Reworks is down the link in the bio if you want to check it out. If not, no worries. Hopefully you're enjoying this video. Hopefully I've figured out where to place all these little clips. And as long as you're showing an item and representing it in the right way, you are not misadvertising anybody and you are stating what it is. Whenever we think about the whole reselling journey and we think about everybody's entry point, most people go on what they would actually wear for what they would sell. Wouldn't sell grade C because they wouldn't wear it, and as a result their perception on what they think about clothing in that condition is completely tainted. But I want to play devil's advocate for you, and I want you to almost look outside of the box of that. Okay, I buy grade B sweatshirts that have a few marks and they're £6 each. Whereas if I got grade C, it might be £1 a piece. So that's 6 times less the cheaper items that have the easier way for you to retain a higher profit. And that's a fact. And guys, drop a comment if you want me to prove it to you, and maybe at some point I'll make a video showing you how I sell grade C items of clothing. Drop any comments with anything that you want to ask, any feedback you want to give me, what you think of this idea. Big up. I appreciate everybody for watching it, liking it, commenting and subscribing, and stick with me because the journey has only just begun. Big up.